another episode of Modern Block. Thank you for joining me today. So, obviously up in the air of who South Africa is playing. We'll probably find out most likely answers to this question tomorrow. A lot of them will be answered, and then obviously the big answers will come the day after. But I thought I'd go into who would we like to face. The teams I would propose we put down on the field if we face them, and obviously I'll do an updated video when the actual team is selected. But just kind of like what kind of players we could do, what kind of strategies, who should we be shouting for South African supporters when these games come. Obviously there's been a lot of drama. As a Scottish fan, I know that World Rugby is like, oh, they feel sad that Scottish Rugby doesn't want this game cancelled, but I get it. It's only every 4 years. It's massive. If South Africa had the situation, I would also be livid. And World Rugby needs to understand that there's a lot of fans that that union has to answer to. Players, contracts, everything. And I think it's been really badly handled by World Rugby. I'm sorry to say, this whole thing has been badly handled, because what I find ironic, or actually not ironic, frustrating, is that on Monday and Tuesday, when the stories originally came out, and even there was already some mumbling in the news on Sunday and Saturday, there was a lot of there was a lot of talk from the world organizers saying there's contingency plans, moving of games, moving of venues, and then they just cancel games. And now it's like all of a sudden they just cannot move venues or games, which I can't believe. I mean, I understand that logistically it's a nightmare, don't get me wrong, but you've got to understand the implications to these unions in these countries, and obviously the credibility of this tournament. You've already had Italy go out without a chance to fight back. I get that the odds were a long shot, I get it, but still it impacts the tournament's outcome. Fact of the matter is, New Zealand's second hardest game they didn't need to play. They effectively they haven't fielded a team in almost 2 weeks by the time they get to quarterfinals. How does that affect the tournament's outcome? Are people going to discredit this tournament, as it will be a game that it's possible that England or New Zealand win this tournament, which are very, very high favourites, yet only playing 6 games? So I mean, those kind of things, I get why Scottish Rugby is saying it. It impacts the quality of the tournament and the credibility of the tournament. Something you cannot have. So I get it. But let's get into kind of like the focus of the video. So I kind of like, obviously, first let's get into the options of the tournament. Scotland obviously have a small chance of playing us. There are some twists and turns that are going to come over the next few days, depending on how things turn out. And obviously depending on if the games go ahead. But obviously there is a chance we can play any 3 of these teams. So Scotland, we obviously have an 81% win record against them, 22 games, 5 losses, 22 wins, 5 losses, and it's quite an interesting one. The team I would like to see play in that game. So Scotland, in my opinion, play very similar rugby to the Southern Hemisphere. They're almost Super Rugby side in the way that they play, in my opinion. They have relatively strong strength and good set pieces, but they focus on, especially very similar to like your New Zealand teams and that, or your Australian teams, with fluid moving of the ball. I even compare them to the Lions in South Africa, which means that you don't need to put as much of a focus on your massive scrummages, but rather putting players who can play open, play well, and cover defense. So I've kind of gone for Kitsoff, Mark, and Koch in the front. I think they're all open play, much more credible open play. Kitsoff is a beast in scrum, so he'll be able to stabilise that whole scrum more than well enough. But they all bring their own in the open play. Kitsoff strong running and really, really outstanding ball stealing. Similar for Marks, and Koch also has a very, very good tackling mind on him, so I like that, and I definitely want to see more of that. Then I've decided to bring Loetjoch and RWC Snyman into the lock pairing. I know I've touted this before, but the fact of the matter is that they are very good on open. They're outstanding in open play, and this is where they shine. They will obviously give you the quality you need in the lineouts, as you've seen in the tournament. Loetjoch and RWC Snyman taking man of the matches in the respective game in 2 different games they played. So it's really good to see that they're showcasing their quality, and any team would be lucky to have them in that pairing. But I think they also will be able to cut apart, in my opinion, a not that structured Scottish defence, which will be really useful. And a lot of the other teams, I think it's very useful to bring this combination on later in the game, last 20 minutes when things become a little bit loose. But I feel Scotland, it's primed to strike in the beginning. They almost stabilise their game as the game goes, and you want to strike your tries as quick as possible. That's why I think that pairing will be really useful there. And then you have your solid players who can close the game out, come in afterwards. Quagga and Khaleesi on the side, so that seems like an odd choice, I agree with you. But I feel you've got more than enough tackling power and stopping power from the rest of the forward pack. I don't think you need an outstandingly strong forward pack to face Scotland. Some people might argue that. Sorry, Scottish fans. And I'm not degrading. I think you have an outstanding pack, but your pack is focused towards the style of play you've got. So I think we should counter it with a similar pack to be able to keep pace. Quagga, I also feel, because of there's some really sharp Scottish attacking moves, they are able to cut some defences. I know they didn't cut Ireland's defence, but they are definitely able to, and Quagga's definitely been my favourite when it comes to counter defence, and he showed it. He is very good in that. He hasn't been able to really put his hand up in this tournament, but I think there's something he can definitely bring to it. Low at the back instead of Dwayne. Francois, mainly because of the fact that he is just a workhorse. I think he is going to continue that, and obviously I feel he's a little bit more mobile at the moment. Dwayne is a little slower. I know that he might have some injury concerns, but I still think he has had a great tournament and continues that in this. And his tackling count is ridiculous, which will definitely keep the Scottish at bay. Yankees and Pollard at the pairing there. Yankees, I know he's not. I know some people obviously are touting him. I'm not trying to say he's better than Faf or not. I just think he might work out very well as a strike force player for this. He's very good at finding, having these long striking passes. And considering that Scotland have a little bit of an unstructured attack, a defence, I think that he can really open some holes. I don't think he should play the full game though, with somebody like Faf being outstanding to close the game out, which will be perfect for him there. Then you've got, I want to put, then it's the standard De Arlen De Arm centre pairing, just because I think they have gelled well together. They'll be they should be consistent on their rush defence, but I would propose that we put Nkosi and Mapimpi on their respective wings, just as a. I know Colby's had a great season, but I feel he should rather move to fullback in this. I don't think we need as strong a fullback. I don't think in the current weather conditions, he's more than capable in the high ball, and his giving him some space against that attack will be really good, especially pairing him with those two speedsters. I think he can definitely cut some holes there. So I'd love to see him give him a little bit more space and put Colby at the back. I know people have been telling it. I think this is the perfect team to put it against if we play against Scotland. Next up, the Irish. If we play the Irish, we have a 69.2% win rate against them with 18 games won and 7 lost. This is, in my opinion, the toughest of the three. I almost don't want this one to happen. I respect the Irish game a lot. It is almost like they've mastered the South African style. We've evolved a little bit away from it, and I think because we don't have the players to enforce it at the moment, but they have really mastered it. And to be fair, it's also why they came unstuck against Japan. Unfortunately, Japan just works so well against it, and that's why also the Japanese game is scary. Is that unfortunately, if you don't dominate in your style and they can stifle you attack-wise, we almost depend on the fact that your defense starts to become out of whack or falls out of continuous play. You don't keep the focus and you can lose concentration on out wide. And to be fair, Japan has a really quality ability of doing it. But now facing a team that have mastered it, it's also really tough to be able to. It's effectively fighting fire with fire. So my changes here is obviously now I'm talking scrum wise. I want the strongest scrum I can find. And in my opinion, Beast, Bongi and Malherbe have been the strongest front row. Really quality performance from Beast. Bongi's improving his lineouts really well. He's still a consistently really strong player to put at the back of a maul, and has had his scrums continuing to improve. Malherbe also. So I'm loving Bongi in this tournament, and I think he'll be a perfect player, especially when one of the key areas of the game you want to govern is that front. It is definitely the front row. Luat and Eben now sitting in lock. Luat, I think he's had definitely just speaks for himself. He'll be able to help a lot in the lineouts, and Eben brings a dominance to the forward pack you need when you're facing such a powerful forward pack from the Irish. You need somebody like that to enforce and to ensure that the forward pack feels confidence and moves forward. With that being said, I put then the normal PTSD and Khaleesi on either side, just because obviously PTSD just gives players PTSD, and your Dwayne at the back. That's just a very, very, very strong. So this forward pack is all about just dominating the opposing team, which is exactly what this needs to be. The other one was a little bit more about mobile open play. This is set pieces, set pieces, set pieces. You want the most experienced and refined set pieces South Africa can bring to a game, and these are the players for it. Here's things are a little bit more interesting in the back line. Something that a lot have been criticising, and I agree, we haven't had a sharp attack, and especially against a team that has a very outstandingly clinical defence. Even against the game against Japan, you understand they still had a 90% tackle rate. Japan got one or two through, but fact of the matter is that they still have one of the best defences in the tournament, and they are continuing to showcase that. So you need to have some X factor to pierce that amazing defence, and Japan showed that. So I feel we keep Faf now at scrummy, but Damian Willemse, Pollard, and then Arm being your backline with centre, well, your fly off and scrum with your centres. The reason for this idea is that double playmaker move has worked well for other teams. England have been really have had a lot of results with it. If you look at the Farrell Ford combination, and it's RWC and Barrett combination that speaks for itself. I feel it's a more useful to bring, instead of the split that New Zealand's doing, the English split's a little bit better. So Damian Willemse has shown himself very, very, very competent in that position. With the quality of the forward pack around him there, and Faf's experience, I don't think he'll lose out on experience. I think he'll be more than capable in that position. He does have a very trusty boot, can snipe very well if the opening is there for him. But with a strong player like Pollard, who can also govern if needy and get the ball out, both players will be able to keep the defence guessing on which way they're going, and definitely will make it a lot harder for Ireland to predict moves, which I feel South Africa definitely suffers from, is that prediction. Arm consistently just showcasing, so he just makes sense to put there. I've also gone here for then the standard Mapimpi, Colby and Willie backline though, the back three, just because Willie has had some shining moments, but still some stinkers. So I'm hoping he can improve that, continue to improve that. But he does give another playmaker. When he does play, he plays hard, and he definitely gives another playmaker moment. With Cheslin Colby, just speaks for himself, and Mapimpi being a strong runner and strong defensively, if he give him space, he'll be able to cut through that defense. So I think that those players still definitely deserve their positions there. Moving on to Japan. This is an interesting one. As I said, we played them recently and get a comfortable win. This is a different Japanese side we're seeing here. They are way more clinical than they were in that game, and continue to be impressive. The weather definitely continuing to help them in this tournament. So South Africa, I am scared. We have only got a 50% win record against them. 1 loss, 1 win. This could be another Brighton miracle, or yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. The team here, as again, similar to the Scottish game here, I'm looking for not as strong a forward pack, but to be fair, you cannot, I think you can't skimp as much here, as the Japanese held with the Irish scrum very well, even sending off some of their best scrummagers in some impressive scrum performances. So you cannot let off here. This is where you need to start winning the game and give the players some space. So I have gone for Kitsoff and Malherbe here with Bongi in the middle. I think he is definitely a good stabilising force in that scrum. With PTSD and Van Etzebeth in the lock positions. The interesting reason for this just being that I feel I want to bring some stronger back three on, and Peter Steptoe, I can't have him off the field, so this is my reasoning for it. With Low, Dwayne and Khaleesi on the sides, just that back is great, and I really feel Low on the field will stifle a lot of the attacking opportunities from the Japanese, and you want to get over that ball and get the ball back. You do not want them to have possession. So that's my opinion there. With a Faf, Pollard, The Islander arm back centre, I think that's a quality centre back. I'm not focusing as much here on X factor, as the Japanese defence can leak some if you just push them, and you keep it interesting out wide. So I do think that is still a quality one. The Japanese definitely lack experience on the outside, so if you can catch them there, you can get them. What is interesting here is I am concerned about their abilities, considering the Mapimpi. We played with them recently. Mapimpi did concede a try to Mashishima. I feel that here we cannot let Mapimpi, unfortunately, drift from his back line. It is too much of a danger. The Japanese are going to cut it, and their clinical kicking and clinical passing will go around him. So I'm proposing Gelant in his place, with Colby on the side and Damian Willems at the back. Damian Willems are giving another piece of X factor. He had a good game recently, and I think he can definitely give both of those players a lot of space, and he does have the pace to be able to challenge the Japanese on a counter attack if need be, with some really impressive kicking moves of his own when need be. But yes, those are kind of the teams I think would work for them. Please let me know down below. This is obviously just my opinion. Some of the players I think would definitely shine in these games, how I feel, and all the drama in the World Cup. But yes, let me know your feelings, your comments. I will be bringing another video with the proposed team against the actual team we're facing, and obviously a video on the South African team and my opinion of it. But yes, comment, share, subscribe, and like, all those good things down below. Thanks guys, cheers.